Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, thank you all for braving this lovely weather that we're having today. I'm very impressed because I don't know about the rest of us, but I was getting a little scared about, how many people we're going to have in the audience other than those that were on the program. So thank you all so very much. I'm Charlene Brooks, and I am the Vice President of the Frederick Douglass Honor Society. Today we celebrate Talbot County's most famous native son, Frederick Douglass, whose life story amplifies our natural and very American struggle for liberty. We take this day to honor the strength and spirit he brought to the fight for justice and freedom for all people. Frederick Douglass believed assimilation and not isolation is our true policy and our natural destiny. He believed unification for us is life and separation is death. He was a tireless fighter who challenged America to give every citizen the right to live free of impediment in a nation truly dedicated to its founders' ideals of liberty and equality. Now more than ever, it is important to remember his work, his passion, especially here in the land of his birth. Mr. Douglass himself said, and I quote, "It's always a fact of some importance to know where a man is born, if indeed it is important to know anything about him," end quote. Frederick Douglass, our native son, may his legacy live forever. I am now going to introduce our very awesome Mr. Ceremony today, Ms. Autumn Redmond. It is my honor to introduce her. She is a senior at Eastern High School. She has been involved in a variety of community projects and has held numerous leadership positions in organizations that are important to her. Autumn is a member of the Eastern High School soccer, basketball, and track teams. Recently, she completed a 4-H Diamond Service Level 6 service project, 6 award project that include a Serenity Rock Garden and a bench at the Talbot County Ag Center. For the Girl Scout Gold Award, Autumn worked with the Frederick Douglass Honor Society and the Talbot County Office of Economic Development and Tourism on a Frederick Douglass geocaching, walking, driving tour around Easton. Please join me in welcoming Autumn.
Thank you, Mrs. Brooks, for that wonderful introduction. I'm honored to have the opportunity to commend the Frederick Douglass Honor Society, the Town of Easton, the Talbot County Free Library, Talbot County, the Avalon Foundation, and our event sponsors, donors, and event participants for their tribute to one of our country's greatest men. Yes, our native son, Frederick Douglass, was born into slavery, but he was also born for greatness. His life is an incredible story of determination to succeed in the face of abandonment, unimaginable abuse, and a system committed to his dehumanization. Though scholars have studied Douglass's life for over a century now, they still learn more from him every single day. His work and passion inspire people of all ages in all places around the world and for all the right reasons. Pastor Keith L. Beckett is the pastor of the New St. John's United Methodist Church in Whitman, United Methodist Church in St. Michael's, and St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Bellevue. Pastor Beckett is currently the chaplain of the St. Michael's Police Department. He is enrolled at the Wesley Seminary, where he is working on his Master of Divinity degree. His motto is to teach, to learn, to live, to give. Please welcome Pastor Keith L. Beckett.
How's everybody doing today? I want everybody to repeat after me. Say, Lord, whatever you're doing this season, don't do it without me. Now let's give God a hand praise. I wrote down a little prayer here, so let us bow our heads and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come today just to say thank you. Thank you for waking us up this morning and starting us on a new day, God. A day that wasn't promised to us, God, and a day that we shall never see again. Now, God, as we celebrate this Frederick Douglass event, God, have your way and move by your spirit, Lord. Any way you bless us, God, will be satisfied. God, bless each and every one under the sound of my voice. Lord, bless Talbot County, God. Help us be the county that shines above all other counties, Lord. Let us shine so bright that other counties will see and want to follow as we follow you, as you lead and guide us along the way. Give us the joy and the peace. Give us the love and the respect for one another. Let us reason together in love and unity as we live, work, and worship together. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance, attributed to a Baptist minister named Francis Bellamy and published in a children's magazine in September 1892, commemorated the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's maiden voyage to America. Today, the members of BAM, Building African American Minds, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, BAM, for your leadership and dedication to building stronger lives, community, and tomorrow's leaders. Thinking of Frederick Douglass on this special day, I remember the words of Maya Angelou: "A great soul serves everyone all the time. A great soul never dies. It brings us together again and again." I wonder if she was thinking about Mr. Douglass when she wrote that. Sharing parts of Frederick Douglass's speech, A Composite Nature, and A Plea for Free Speech, is Devin Beck, a leader, a builder, and connector who has held leadership roles in education, community development, and the music industry. Mr. Beck is currently the facilitator of diversity, equity, and inclusion for the Talbot County Board of Education and guides leaders and organizations to remove barriers to inclusion.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I get to read this speech by Mr. Douglass, and it's absolutely an honor to be here this morning. We are a country of extremes, ends, and opposites. The most conspicuous example of composite nationality in the world. In races, we range all the way from black to white, with intermediate shades, which, in its apocalyptic version, no name can name or number. We stand between the populous shores of two great oceans. Our land is capable of supporting 1/5 of all the globe. Here, labor is abundant, and her labor is better remunerated than anywhere else. All moral, social, and geographical causes conspire to bring us, the peoples, all overpopulated countries. In regard to creeds and faiths, no condition is no better or no worse. Differences both to race and religion are evidently more likely to increase than to diminish. American statesmanship, worthy of the name, is now taxing its energies to frame measures to meet the demands of the constantly increasing expansion of power, responsibility, and duty. Perfection is an object to be aimed at by all, but not as attribute of any form of government. Neutrality is the law for all. Something different, something better, or something worse may come, but so far as the respects to our present systems and forms of government, the altitude we may occupy, we need not shrink from comparison with any nation of our times. We are today the best fed, the best clothed, the best sheltered, and the best instructed people in the world. There are clouds, wind, smoke, dust, noise, overhead and around, and there always will be. We have for a long time hesitated to adopt and may yet refuse to adopt and carry out the only principle which can solve that difficulty, give peace, strength, and security to the Republic. And that is the principle of absolute equality. The real trouble with us was never our system or form of government or the principles underlying it, but the peculiar composition of our people, the relations existing between them and the compromising spirit which controlled the ruling powers of the country. Where justices are denied, poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where one class is made to feel that society is organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, degrade. Neither persons nor property will be safe. Liberty is meaningless where the right to utter one's thoughts and opinions cease to exist. That of all rights is the dread of tyrants. It is which they first all strike down. They know its power. To suppress free speech, to suppress free speech is a double wrong. It violates the rights of the hearer as well as those of the speaker. It is just as criminal to rob a man of his right to speak and hear as it would be to rob him of his money. No right was deemed by the fathers of the government more sacred than the right of speech. It was in the eyes of thoughtful men the great moral renovator of society and government. A man's right to speak does not depend upon where he was born or his color. The simple quality of manhood, the solid basis of right, and let there rest forever. I know no rights of race superior to the rights of humanity. The man who is right is a majority. He who has God, a conscience on his side, has a majority against the universe. To those who have suffered in slavery, I can say, I too have suffered. To those who have battled for liberty, brotherhood, and citizenship, I can say, I too have battled. In conclusion, let me say, I ask of all American people is that you live up to the Constitution, adopt its principle, imbibe its spirit, and enforce its provisions. Let us have peace, liberty, law, and justice first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beth. Backed by popular demand is our good friend and great talent, Baba Bomani. Bomani uses his experiences as a producer and MC to teach arts, integrated workshops, residences, assemblies, and personal development with his curriculum, Bars. He is a Kennedy Center for the Arts teaching artist and a roster artist with young audiences of New Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania, United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County, North Carolina, and Arlington County, Virginia. He is also the founder of a history club for students called the Frederick Douglass Writing Club. Please welcome Baba Bomani.
Good morning, everybody. I got excited when I realized we were actually in the library and I can hopefully use the projector to show you what I do with young people. My name is Baba Bomani. Let me see if I can make this transition real quick. Thank you very much for the invitation. I wanted to make sure I wore my Historic Society shirt that I got last time I was here. I'm completely on the team, y'all. Let's see if I can bring this up for y'all real quick. So, I do something called the Frederick Douglass Writing Club. I travel the country and I show young people and teachers how to write by writing hip-hop songs, and I tell them all the time, there are 3 things that I'm gonna do when I become president. First, I'm gonna double all the teachers' salaries. Second, I'm gonna cut all the class sizes in half. Thank you. The next is I'm gonna make sure we all know the story of how Frederick Douglass learned how to read. I wanna make it an environment for the reading. And so, yeah, I'm introducing I ask students all the time if they know this story, and usually it's only like 2 or 3 hands out of a couple of hundred. So I'm spreading the news, and I love that y'all are spreading the news. We're definitely on the same team. So hopefully the sound works. If not, you can follow along the lyrics just watching it. All my performances are read-alongs. Let's see, I might be able to send this through the sound for everybody. Let me try that real quick, and if it doesn't work, I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, okay. We're good. What's the most you've ever gone through to learn? Ever read stolen books under candles that burn? Sounding out the hard words as the pages turn? Trying to stay quiet as your stomach churns? From hunger, if you ever wondered when you were younger, if you never taught your letters and your numbers, could only read when those who guarded you slumbered. If you did, you'd be chased by overseers and slave hunters. What if reading was against the law and all your things stayed unused and raw? No books to read, no pencil and paper to draw. Would you hide your eyes from every word that you saw? Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't meant to be a slave. Born in 1820s in Hillsborough, Maryland. As an African, he was never treated like a man. They controlled when he was sleeping, drinking, and eating. He saw his relatives sold away and his aunt beaten. As a young child, separated from his mother. Grew up as master's child, but not like a brother. More like a pet, but more than most slaves expect. Some things his young master got, young Frederick would get. That included lessons like learning the ABCs. He would sit with his young master as he would learn to read. His young master's mother was Frederick's mistress. He learned his letters with her assistance. Frederick soaked it all in like all children. He was curious. When her husband found out, he was so furious. Told her not to teach him, and the reason that he gave. A slave who can read isn't fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't meant to be a slave. Frederick said the time that he didn't know what that meant, but from that day on, that's how his free time was spent. Stole his master's old homework and finished tests with the white boys in the street who can spell their words the best. They always beat him, but they didn't think of this. Every word they beat him with, he would add it to his list. When he was older, Frederick stole so many books. He hid them where he slept to stay away from master's looks. He learned about freedom and about places far away, and he knew that his slavery was nowhere to stay. When he learned to read, he also learned to write. He knew he couldn't get out of slavery without a fight, unless he got a letter from his master. He's a prisoner, so we learned how to write a pass and forge a signature. Now we understood his master's reason that he gave. A slave who can read isn't fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who could read isn't meant to be a slave. Yeah. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who could read isn't meant to be a slave. But Frederick reconfirmed what he knew all along, that freedom is for everyone and slavery is wrong. His reading and writing game was superhero strong. He had so many accomplishments, they need their own songs. Before I make those tracks, let me make one observation. The key to Frederick's freedom was they stole his education. Didn't have the first through 12, so we learned it all with stealth. They didn't care what master felt. Reading gave us knowledge of self. So just like Frederick, read at every opportunity. And unlike Frederick, you got help in your community. The more ideas you have, the more likely you'll succeed. And books can give you all that is you need. The dictionary to history is necessary. Now follow me to the library. Frederick used the skill to make sure his people were saved, cause no one in the world is fit to be a slave. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't meant to be a slave. Yeah. Young Frederick, he was smart and he was brave, because for him to read was to misbehave. Supposed to be illiterate from the cradle to the grave. A slave who can read isn't meant to be a slave. Give it up for yourself, I got a little amped in the middle of the performance. I'm like, I'm in a library in Frederick Douglass's hometown with the and I'm like, my life is poetry, so thank y'all very much. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Bomani, for sharing your great music and talent with us this morning. Mr. Bomani will perform again later this afternoon on our entertainment stage beginning at 12 noon at the Avalon Theater. This morning, you'll have the opportunity to receive one of 5 tickets to tonight's performance at the Avalon Theater. Layla McCullough is a multi-instrumentalist whose music is earthy, soulful, and witty. It vibrates with 3 centuries of history, yet feels strikingly fresh, distinctive, and contemporary, blending New Orleans influences and Haitian rhythms with lyrics sung in English, French, and Haitian. It's a show not to be missed. Be sure to see Harriet Lowry to enter your name if you can attend the concert starting at 8 p.m. The winning names will be announced at the end of the welcome ceremony. Tickets are valued at $40 per person. Our next guest is Andy Mewborn, is the assistant principal at Easton Elementary School. Ms. Mewborn was the Talbot County Leader of the Year in 2016 to 2017 and the VFW Teacher of the Year in 2017. Today she will read Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but just like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like the moon and like the suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness distress you? Why must you be so confused? Just 'cause I laugh like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Are you so confused? Just 'cause I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, welling, swide, leaping and leaping and leaping and welling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind the nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. I am the dream of the hope and the slave, bearing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newborn, for sharing Maya Angelou's inspirational poetry. Since arriving in Easton, Megan J. Cook has devoted her time to her family and her community. She's served on numerous boards, including the East End Neighborhood Association, Historic Easton, the Avalon Foundation, Junior Achievement of Talbot County, and the Parents Association at both Easton Elementary and the country schools. Currently, she is the finance chair for the Neighborhood Service Center Board, secretary for the Gunston School Board of Trustees, assistant coach of the Gunston Schools boys and girls tennis teams. She also works at the YMCA on Washington as their tennis league director. She was elected mayor of Easton this past May. Please welcome Mayor Cook.
Good morning, everyone, and I thank you for coming out to downtown Easton on Frederick Douglass Day. I'm truly sorry that the beautiful weather we've had this week could not hold out for another couple days, but I'm glad to see those of you decide to come out for the festivities anyways. Earlier this week, our town proclaimed September 23rd as Frederick Douglass Month in recognition of this important work as a scholar and an abolitionist, as well as being a former native of Talbot County. Thank you. Mr. Douglass's commitment to equality, equity, knowledge, justice, and service exemplifies so much of what we are committed to in our town, and as we strive to live for these ideals every day. It all starts with education and understanding, which is why we are so blessed to have community organizations such as the Frederick Douglass Honor Society, working to put on meaningful events like you see here today in order to educate our neighbors on the power of our local history and how so many of the ideals that Mr. Douglass's addresses are just as relevant today as they were 200 years ago. Mr. Douglass once said, "The life of a nation is secure only while the nation is honest, truthful, and virtuous." It's our job to be change we want to see, and I'm happy to see so many of you out here today, in spite of the rain, helping to live out these ideals. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the event today.
Thank you, Mayor Cook. Keisha Haith is currently serving her first term on the Talbot County Council. Ms. Haith is the president and CEO for Foundation of Hope Incorporated, a nonprofit 501c3 organization established to help women and young girls. She's been an economic development professional for more than 2 decades, serving as director for a local government. Please welcome Councilmember Haith.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks to many of you in this room, I stand before you as the first African-American female elected to the Talbot County Council. Thank you for joining us this morning to celebrate Frederick Douglass Day. I am Keisha Haith, member of the Talbot County Council, and I am filling in for our council president, Chuck Callahan, who is out of town this weekend. Do we have any other council members here today? Don't think so. Okay, wanted to recognize them if they were here. I'd like to thank the Frederick Douglass Honor Society, Town of Easton, and Talbot County Free Library for coordinating this annual community event to commemorate the life and legacy of Frederick Douglass, Talbot County's most famous native son. It is important to both recognize and celebrate the legacy left by Frederick Douglass, who exemplifies the courage and self-determination to free himself from bondage, illiteracy, and poverty. It is fitting that the Frederick Douglass Honor Society partners with the Talbot County Free Library for this celebration, as it was Frederick Douglass himself who noted that once you learn to read, you will forever be free. At an early age, Frederick Douglass understood there was a connection between literacy and freedom. Talbot County Public Schools and the Talbot County Free Library are some of the county's most important public assets and serve as an integral role in our communities. From the young student first learning their alphabet, to learning to read under the guidance of a teacher, to the young adult and senior citizen fostering their love of reading and learning right here at the library. Our best community cultivates the importance of education at all age levels. As Nelson Mandela once stated, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Thank you to our students who are participating in today's events and sharing their talents with us. Frederick Douglass was a lifelong champion of equal rights and justice, an author and the publisher of 4 newspapers. We look forward today to hearing from author and professor Dr. Derek Spires as he expounds upon the importance of developing and fostering community connections and discusses how Black writers such as Mr. Douglass used their literacy skills to create a practice-based theory of citizenship. I encourage you all to participate in the many activities planned throughout the day. And again, thank you to the organizers of today's event.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayes. Our next speaker is Dr. Sharon Pepakayi, who was appointed Talbot County Superintendent of Schools in 2022. As an educator for 30 years, Dr. Pepakayi has served in numerous roles, including student advisor, mentor, reading coach, teacher, assistant principal, and principal prior to moving to district administration. Dr. Pepakayi is a collaborator and believes in unleashing the talents of others. She has worked tirelessly to develop leaders and promote equity and diversity.
Good morning and greetings from Talbot County Public Schools, where I say it's always a great day for success at TCPS. And so those before me, some words stuck out and I was writing them down: unification, legacy, determination, dedication, living up to the Constitution, starts with education. And as Councilwoman Hayes stated, education in Talbot County Public Schools being a public asset. And so we know Frederick Douglass was an orator, a writer, reformer, abolitionist. But I was traveling down 328 going to Denton. I'm not usually out in that area, but I was going to a meeting and I crossed the Frederick Douglass Bridge right there as you're going on that route. And I thought about it. Frederick Douglass was a bridge builder. He was a collaborator. And so my message to all of us in this room, and I'm looking around, everyone who is up here, people around the room, there's some connection to the school district. And I'm forever grateful for that strong partnership that we have. But I encourage all of us to be reminded of, let's be bridge builders. Let's collaborate, communicate with those of diverse ideological theories that we have in our thoughts, and come to the table for common goals that we've laid before us now and that we're gonna lay in the future. So I just wanna leave us with that. And then Mr. Umami, I was a fan of MC Light and Queen Latifah back in the day. I knew I couldn't be a successful rapper, but I will say this. Looking at that, I wrote down some things. We in the room, we are gonna be brave and spread the news of Frederick from the cradle to the grave.
Heidi, especially for that rap at the end. As a senior at Easton High School, we are honored to have you as our superintendent of Talbot County Schools. Dana Newman is the director of the Talbot County Free Library. She holds a master's degree in library science and BS in secondary education English. She is a graduate of the Maryland Library Leadership Institute and a longtime member of the Maryland Library Association, the Public Library Association of Public Library Administrators, among other professional affiliations. Please welcome Ms. Newman.
We have heard such wonderful words today, and Sharon Pepakaya is very inspirational. I don't know how I can follow her. I certainly can't follow Vamani from the cradle to the grave, but Frederick Douglass really is an inspiration, and when you read about him, you really understand what he gave to us, the legacy that he gave to us. So I have just a few words I'm going to share with you. The Frederick Douglass Day celebrates all that Frederick Douglass achieved and inspired. It's a day of education to not only learn and celebrate his achievements and legacy, but it is also a day of discovery, inspiration, and reflection. It is a day for all of us to think about and discuss the concepts and ideals surrounding freedom, justice, equality, and education. Frederick Douglass shone a light on and explored questions of race, equality, and the power of education through his writings and powerful speeches. In a speech he delivered to the International Council of Women in Washington, D.C. in April of 1888, he said of the women's suffrage that this new revolution in human thought will never go backwards. When a great truth once gets abroad in the world, no power on earth can imprison it, or prescribe its limits, or suppress it. It is bound to go on till it becomes the thought of the world. Think about that statement, the thought of the world. That is so impactful to think that the power of word, the power of speech, the power of the book, the power to be able to read, education, that is so important for us to be able to support. Unfortunately, that is being challenged today. During the first week of October, the library will be celebrating Banned Books Week, which builds awareness for current and historical attempts to censor books in libraries and schools. Last year alone, nationwide, over 2,500 book titles were targeted for censorship in schools and libraries, a 40% increase from the year before. Today, when we remember the desire and determination that Frederick Douglass had to read and to educate and to advocate, it serves as a very timely reminder of how the right to read, write, and enjoy books remains one of the most contested activities in American culture. While it should be lauded and celebrated as one of our most sacred rights, and I know all of you will support that in this room, but we need to be advocates for the right to think, to read, to understand, to be able to talk to each other. And I do believe that we have to bring people to the table. We have to be able to listen. Listening is one of our best and strongest skills. We have to be able to come together and think about these things. So today, when we think about the desire and determination of Frederick Douglass to learn, we should also think about what we can personally do to lift up marginalized voices of authors like Frederick Douglass, Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, and many others. Frederick Douglass, like no one else, knew the unifying power of stories. He said that education meant emancipation, and that to deny education was one of the greatest crimes against human nature. Today, Frederick Douglass Day serves as the kickoff for a new children's reading program at the library. Douglass believed that education, the act of reading, the power of books opens doors and offers numerous opportunities. So the library is calling this program the Frederick Douglass Reading Challenge. The challenge is simple. Between now and the 1st of November, every time a young person between 6 and 18 years of age reads a Frederick Douglass biography, and there are plenty in the library, they will have a chance to enter a drawing to win one of these $50 gift cards from Target. So anyways, you can learn about the details today in the Children's Village, and I hope that you will go enjoy the many activities that we have to learn about Frederick Douglass's legacy. And please check out a book today while you're in the library. You are fighting the good fight every time that you open a book and enjoy a book. You really understand and really open up your mind to diverse thought. So please enjoy everything, and I hope to see you at the library at 1 for author and Professor Derek Spire's lecture and book signing. And I'd be remiss not to mention these panels on the side of the room. They're wonderful panels, and they really talk about Frederick Douglass and his family. His family were such wonderful advocates as well. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over to Autumn. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newman. It has been an honor to serve as today's Mistress of Ceremonies. In closing, I would like to thank all of our welcome ceremony participants, sponsors, donors, and Easton Utilities Commission, MPT, the Talbot SPY, the Frederick Douglass Honor Society, the Town of Easton, the Avalon Foundation, Vintage Books and Fine Arts, Flying Cloud Booksellers, the Talbot County Free Library, Talbot County Arts Council, and our extraordinary Frederick Douglass Day Committee members and volunteers. We cordially invite you to be part of today's activities. Jeff McGinnis, author and photographer of Bear Me Into Freedom, the Talbot County of Frederick Douglass, is right across the street at the Vintage Books and Fine Arts store, signing copies of his book until 1 p.m. today. The Children's Village is located in the Talbot County Free Library's children's areas until 3 p.m., featuring games and prizes, mapping, Frederick Douglass readings, face painting, passports to the Frederick Douglass geocaching trail, and free Douglass coloring books, and more. The entertainment stage opens at 12 noon at the Avalon Theater and features the Covenant Gospel Choir, Baba Bomani, and Randall Butler. Dr. Derek Spires will deliver the 2023 Frederick Douglass Lecture here at the Talbot County Free Library at 1 p.m. with a book signing to follow. Take a few moments to stop by the Frederick Douglass Room and see the Douglass artifacts courtesy of the National Park Service's Cedar Hill Home and the Frederick Douglass and Anna Marie Douglass oil painting by local artist Laura Ira, owner of the Troika Gallery, Frederick Douglass history panels created by Patrick Rogan of Assemble, and the Frederick Douglass mosaic created by myself and other community members is also on display. On behalf of the Frederick Douglass Honor Society, we thank you for joining us to celebrate one of our nation's greatest men, Frederick Douglass. We hope you enjoy Frederick Douglass Day. Thank you very much.